continued, it became clear that the ragged enemy forces we thought were being ground down had greater numbers and greater military strength than we had been led to believe. Before they were finally pushed back, those Viet Cong forces had left behind a nagging question in the minds of millions of Americans. How was it possible for them to surface so brazenly and so successfully at a time when Americans at home were being told the enemy was running out of men? The fact is that we Americans were misinformed about the nature and the size of the enemy we were facing. And tonight we're going to present evidence of what we have come to believe was a conscious effort, indeed a conspiracy at the highest levels of American military intelligence to suppress and alter critical intelligence on the enemy in the year leading up to the Tet Offensive. A former CIA analyst, Sam Adams, introduced us to this evidence, and he became our consultant. What you are about to see are the results of our efforts over the last 12 months to confirm his findings, and then what my CBS colleague George Cryle and I discovered when we took the investigation the next step. What went wrong in Vietnam is still one of the great questions of our recent American experience. We still don't know all the answers. But tonight we shall offer an explanation for one of the great mysteries of the war. Why, for so long, our government apparently believed, and wanted all of us to believe, that we were winning the war. The war in Vietnam. The cost, $150 billion.
Like the last cry of the 60s. Nothing had worked. The movements struck out. The people didn't make it. No one got the kind of free they really wanted. And the decade that started with such hope ended in the summer of '70 in dissolution.
British war. The young lamb started growing, the young blood started flowing, but I ain't marching anymore. Oh, I marched to the Battle of New.
You trick?
You trade.
Trick is sex. You
you trick, you have sex.
Trade now is the money. Or
Trade, you
just
pay
trade.
or you get out of here.
That's right. I was just trying to put it in a nice little way that they wouldn't get too mad. But I still made some people mad. But we all make people mad even now.
Were there men that came and would like to just have a lot of conversation?
Oh, yes. Now, I did.
Well, we're going to tell...
Or like me, I can be thankful I lost both of my legs. Hey, guys, lost their lives over there. But I came back home alive, and I'm thankful for this.
I'm not bitter because I got shot through the chest. Well, like I said, I enlisted. I went over there, and it was all my doing. And I knew what the statistics were in casualty rates, and especially with infantry officers. But what got me bugged, and why I'm bitter, is the fact that I did put, naively, so much faith in my government to find out that I was betrayed by my government.
We have our first question. Yes, sir.
I'm an American deserter, and I would like to ask Mr. Siegel, Kelly, and Cope, where you have the audacity, where you get the gall to think that most of us, as American exiles, want to return to live under a fascist flag, an imperialist nation ruled by a megalomaniac, full of a silent majority that's made up of narrow-minded pigs like you, from the sound of it anyway. We don't want it. We didn't ask for it.
Hey, whoa. That's all right.
If you're
This is something I let
we
know.
didn't ask
I frankly don't care if you ever come back.
I don't want to go back.
Fine, stay
We
here,
didn't
sit
ask to
down,
go
and
back.
talk about-
Bureaucrats and politicians picked it up, and they're kicking it around, and they want to make it a token bill.
Well,
If they're
fine,
going
then
to do
you call
something, they
back.
better make it
You call
something
back to
good.
your congressman and tell him you don't want to come back, and you think they ought to drop the
Why
issue.
should I? If I'd wanted to come back, I would have let them know a long time ago. Most of us feel that way, though.
Well, good, then stay here and
I
join
intend to
yourself as
stay
candidate.
here. It's just a few people that do need it, and they're my brothers, and I'm concerned about them. We're all brothers here.
How dare you call them brothers? You were never in the service. You were never in uniform.
I wasn't in the service.
Oh,
I
were you?
wasn't in uniform. I told you I was a deserter.
From
Open
where?
up your ears. The Army.
From where?
The Army.
Where did you desert?
From the Army.
Where?
Where were
What
you?
fort do you want to know?
Yeah.
Fort Halliburton in Baltimore.
Okay.
You had never been in Vietnam.
No. I didn't.
Just a moment ago, you called me, among others, pigs.
Right, narrow-minded pig.
Now, let me tell you something. I'll not only speak to you, I'll speak beyond you.
Is that possible?
Very easily.
Come on, he's a gratuitous insult. Don't do that.
Now, let me tell you something.
Do that.
And I'll also talk to the Congress of the United States. The day that they dare to grant total amnesty, consider total amnesty, that is the day that they had better go to Washington, D.C. and take that American flag down from that pole. But when they take it down, they take it down very gently and very easily, because that flag has been flying because of the blood of men that you could not kiss their feet.
Knock, 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 knock. Mr. President!
What is it, Pat?
Mr. President, there's a terrible demonstration going on outside.
Oh, there's always a demonstration going on outside, Pat.
No, but Richard, you don't understand. It's out of control.
Well, there are people to take care of that. They'll do their job. You do your job, and I'll do my job.
And then you said, what are they asking this time, remember?
Oh.
My scrap, you are referring obviously to somebody else's. And any person who says, I like dog, with such hatred in her voice, reminds me of those Nazis I got away from who said, some of my best friends are Jews.
I have a right to answer that. Miss Hoffman, don't you pull that nonsense on me. While a child goes to bed hungry in this country,
Yes.
while a prisoner in jail is treated worse than a dog, while the pet food people are spending $7 million to inundate that TV with 125 commercials, I will fight for the right to a child to go to bed not hungry. I want
I'm in favor of that.
is defending that dog like a child. They don't want you to get on the disease aspect. David, don't let this get in here.
I can't believe
May I get a word in that twice?
Boys.
I did a movie, for instance, outside of the studio for a real crew. I mean, it was like your movie, like say with lights and cameras and action and music. It was fabulous. It was called That Dreadful Night.
She's the only man I've ever seen whose eyes become completely visible, the eyeballs inside the eye whites, because they become so round. And he does things that are infinitely absorbing and amusing. When I play with Taylor, which I do often, he's coming over to kiss me. When I play opposite Taylor, I straight for Taylor.
Oh, you have to.
And I am not naturally a straight actress. But I adjust my characterization to be kind of the immovable force around which Taylor can do all these delicate things, because it's so delicious. And it's wonderful.
Wow.
How are you going to go?
Well, after they come, the top of the spacecraft will lift off and will be a small craft. On the top of the craft, there will be a small craft, and I will use that with some of my brothers, and we'll go around the world and deliver to each country or their leaders or their representatives an entire library of the science. They will have we'll have the science to teach their people. They will teach it over communication systems. And then I can go home to my spiritual world.
Are you the only one that sounds like Elvis Presley? You haven't seen my show, so you're sitting there saying that you are the best.
You sound like Elvis. Why don't you just, without any music, just sing one verse of Love Me Tender right now and prove it?
Why do I have to sing and prove it to you?
It's not my attitude is that I'm the best. It's my attitude is that
you think you're the
everybody else is just so bad, you know?
I'll tell you one thing, Alan. You do the 50s very well. You couldn't touch me on the contemporary stuff. Okay? Now, you want to talk about Elvis Presley?
I don't like interchanges. I don't like my wife dancing with another man.
3 men, right? Yes.
You almost gave yourself away.
I certainly did. Now you see what female impersonator.
I think that the Negro people have perhaps always been, I don't know if they've always been, but I think they are the richest cultural influence in America today.
First of all, I don't consider myself any such thing as a girl of the year. And I want to say that loud and clear.
I didn't understand the language, and the audiences didn't understand the language, but there was still a tremendous sort of excitement on that stage. Not wholly, not completely, but I mean what people tried to express, and they were talking this very strange.
You can create any kind of image. The press, in a sense, is for sale. By that I mean you gentlemen wouldn't take money.
Yeah, easy.
Now.
Not so fast, Abernathy.
I think before we started swinging, we didn't really know each other as well as we do now. I mean, it's very, like they have said too, hard to communicate with each other. And I don't know, for some reason, when you're a swinger, you just don't find any problem.
Why is it hard to communicate in a marriage?
Because it's like there are so many people. All right, a man wants to go out with somebody else, and he is afraid to say that he wants to. Or a woman is interested in some man, and she's afraid to say, well, gee, I'd really like to make it with him, you know. And yet, when you're a swinger, you're not afraid to say that to your husband. It's just like you've got better communication.
I paid $31 for the room and $100 to the girl.
Often?
Yes.
How often?
Well, sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes every 10 days. It depends.
That's $193.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It's $393.
Right. So? What's wrong with that?
Wouldn't you be better off going to a friend's house and meeting a nice woman and then seeing her on some regular basis?
Well, I get a different girl every time this way, you know. I'd like to go to bed with every woman on earth at least once before I die, and I wouldn't want to just confine it to one person, and that's it.
You commenced adultery in a YWCA.
That's correct. I was waiting.
Have you no shame?
No. It can happen any place. He called me the next day after receiving my letter and invited me out for a drink. I mean, this would, in a small town, this would be like perhaps if you called me up, or Johnny Carson, or Phil Donahue.
Anyway.
transsexual is not a homosexual. A transsexual has no disgusting or obnoxious sex habits. A transsexual is not criminally inclined or so constituted that people have any legitimate reason to want to object to this individual if they would look at it dispassionately.
Debbie, she said, now that you had your operation, did you ever think of joining the women's liberation movement so you can help liberate your sisters? And without blinking an eyelash, I said, dearie, it took me all of my life to get into a brassiere, and I'm not going to burn it now or ever.
You're a man. You were a man.
Was.
Until very recently.
Till last Tuesday. I had my operation. And I was released out of the hospital today.
Do you know, did you ever shave? Did you ever have...
No, I never had a beard. Never had hair on my body. And I was always a woman. I mean, look at me.
Well, in reality, I think the last time I saw him and really spoke to him was the night of his wedding 5 years ago.
Why, Miriam?
Why? He's married to a girl. She has decided to break up whatever relationship I had with my son, and she succeeded. Naturally, she holds the upper hand. She goes to bed with him.
Well, you've been in a welfare caseworker. Do you think that they're grossly underpaid in their welfare benefits?
No, I do not.
You go into their homes, you see the children.
I see the colored television sets. I see this hi-fi stereo sets.
Quiet.
I see the empty whiskey bottles under the beds. Where does that come from?
Do you see the holes in the ceiling that the landlord won't fix?
What's he doing under the bed? That's what I want to know. What is he doing under the bed?
All right. Mrs. McPherson wants to know what he's doing under the bed. Quiet. No, seriously.
The woman is so used to doing nothing, she's too lazy to make the bed. You can see right under the bed where the whiskey bottles are rolling around.
What are you doing in the bedroom, period? So she had to go under the bedroom?
What am I doing in the bedroom? I'm a caseworker. I go into the home.
You're a snoop.
It's my right.
Quiet, please.
You're supposed to go to the living room, not in the bedroom.
You're not only going to take my money, but you're going to tell me what I'm supposed to do to ensure that it's properly distributed?
Who do you think controls the media? Are you worried about the people who do?
No. I am worried about it. I am worried about them. I'm not sure at all that the program that he talked about coming from an information minister from Russia should be beamed and put on very, very beautifully to my 14-year-old boy. I'm talking about what I want my kids to hear is, I guess I'm an old man, what I've heard and believed in. That Anglo-Saxon jurisprudence is precious. And the jury's grand. And you can subpoena the president when you're charged with a violation of crime.
And busted.
He can. These things are very dear to me. And I want other people. I want it to be dear to other people.
Well, it is.
And you asked me whether or not the media what have it done? That which I have read is not the Bibb County Gazette.
A couple of months to me. Those days are very, very important to me. And I am very, very particular as to how I spend them. I will not waste any time if I can help it. And I think that's the reason that I would never contemplate suicide, because I feel that I have, I'm going to take every minute I've got. And why throw it away ahead of time? And that's ridiculous.
In this country, the
delegations that go to the United Nations, that go to Congress, should fight for people to keep their jobs, especially with this loyalty that they've had to this company. And that's the way I feel, and it's breaking my heart to see it go, because I haven't got an education. It's far too late. I never had the smarts. Maybe I've got more from listening to people like you.
Page 128, Elvis Presley. Page 52, Hassan II. Page 28, Tarzan the Ape Man. Page 72, Doris Day. Oh, once I was fed up with that Western political novel. I looked at my watch. I'd only managed to kill an hour and a half. I raised the lid, climbed out, and threw the book into the Kazi. This was all a waste of time. I would soon be 5 years old, the age of the Red Guards, the age of the Revolution. I had to do something. I sent a wire to Peking. Now I was on the beach, waiting for Uncle Mao's yellow submarine to come and get me. Nearby, there were a lot of fools running around making noise. Who were they? Why were they there to be standing around like that? In my opinion, they must have been making a film.
I hope you'll join us again this week for another information-packed half hour right here on the USA Network.
Now stand by for your night flight.
Okay, my little television coverage. Hello, Andy. Okay. How do you do? How are you? Here we go. Let me ask you this question. What is the purpose of your visit here this afternoon? I'd like to report a crime. Before any competent tribunal, officer, or person, in any case then pending or thereafter to be instituted in any particular manner or to any particular fact. And
it wasn't a bit. Lenny was like that at the end. He'd stopped laughing.
That he knows to be false is guilty of perjury. In any prosecution under this section, the subsequent testimony of each person in any action involving the matters in each affidavit contained, which is contrary to any of the matters in such affidavit contained, shall be prima facie evidence that the matters in such affidavits were false.
Lenny was a funny guy who could hold an audience with his stories. A sweet romantic.
He was open about dope and sex before his generation. But that didn't make him a visionary. He had a sense about the war in Vietnam and the religious establishment. But that didn't make him a revolutionary.
Knock again.
Oh, Mrs. Zippo.
Hi, Miss Douglas.
Oh, hello, Arnold. Come in, come right in. Oh, come in, Mrs. Zippo. Mrs. Zippo, it's you. Well, oh, nice to see you again. Oh, what a pretty hat.
Thank you.
She wasn't talking to you, she was talking to me. And take yours off.
Arnold, would you like to play with Mignon? Oh, Mignon, there's someone here to see you.
Steve Allen helped promote the Bruce thing on television, of all places.
We get a great deal of mail from our viewers commenting on our sketches, indicating their likes and dislikes, and whether you realize it or not, there is just about no joke or sketch, particularly of a satirical sort, that will not offend somebody, you know, a cowboy or a drunk or somebody. I don't want to equate those two already. I can see the cards are coming in. Tell you how we're going to face the problem. We have decided that once a month, we will book a comedian who will offend everybody.
You know, that's kind of seen to anyone. Yeah. But you might be interested in how I became offensive. Like, started in school with drinking, and I was like a real depressed kid, you know, and 7, 8 years old, I really get juiced and get out of